Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan. Some of you may know me. So for those of you who don't know me, this is who I am. Today, we will be going through successfully implementing text-to-speech settings in our alerter system. So without further ado, let's get started. This is a brief view of today's agenda. I'll take you through it all. Just a few quick things before we get into the meat and potatoes of our session today. Reaching out to our support is really easy. You can reach us at my.alerters.com. There you can download product documentation, software downloads, access different articles on just about anything for any of our products. There you can also create support tickets, check on its status, and you can also reach us via email if you'd like, or via telephone. Here is a brief view of our client portal. Yellow banner up top describes several different sections of our portal. We have a built-in search engine that you can also use to quickly and easily find articles relating to whatever subject you are searching. And item number 3 highlights where you could create your support tickets, check on your status, and we've provided a phone number for you to give us a call. We do have a new client portal that we are migrating to. So please do feel free to check it out. You would need to create a new account over at this portal. It's pretty neat. It brings a lot of advantages. So please do go check it out at help.alerters.com. There is a link on our existing portal or our portal that we're migrating from, so it's super easy to find. So, Alerters text-to-speech technology, what is it? Text-to-speech is a technology that's used to convert text to audio. So it's really useful for reaching a large number of intended recipients quickly. And it's also really ideal for reaching persons who may be visually impaired. So it augments all of your visual alert methodologies, and it adds audio, so it grabs as much attention as possible. So in a bubble, that is what text-to-speech does. So how does Alerters use text-to-speech? Here are some popular examples where we have integrated text-to-speech, either integrated text-to-speech or provided as a standalone. So the Alerters desktop, many of you would be familiar with the Alerters desktop application. It's that application that causes when an alert is sent, it can either take over your screen via a pop-up, a rolling ticker, or it can take over your entire screen. Some of our customers may not be aware that that technology has text-to-speech built into it. It's super easy to configure, and literally in under a minute, you can turn it on and it will be fully functional. Another way we use text-to-speech is in our standalone IP text-to-speech speaker.
Hey, Nathan. Sorry to interrupt, but you haven't shared your screen yet?
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. I guess I will start over.
Thank you.
Forgive me, everyone. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Do forgive me. Do forgive me. So this is our agenda for today. It's going to be really quick. It's really short. Here are those Alerters support resources that I was mentioning earlier. This is a view of our client portal, highlighting our banner, which describes different sections of our portal, our search engine, and item number 3, which gives you links to create your support ticket, check on its status, or give us a phone call. Here is a brief view of our new client portal. There is a hyperlink to it in the existing portal, but you can also get to it via help.alerters.com. And it's really nice. It's really nice. It adds some functionality over the existing portal. So please do check that out. And yeah, so I just gave you guys a brief description of what the Alertus text-to-speech technology is. And we are here. This is where I'm describing to you different ways that we use our text-to-speech technology. So Alertus Desktop, this is where we would, many of you are familiar with this product, but not many of you are aware that it has text-to-speech built into it. Second item is our standalone IP text-to-speech speaker. This is a self-powered device, amplified. It's great for deployment in hallways, classrooms, theaters, anywhere that you'd really like to reach a large audience quickly. Another way we use text-to-speech is with our alert beacons. So we have a text-to-speech module that we can use for integrating with several other technologies. Common ones would be PA systems and telephone systems. Those are two common ones, but by no means is that an extent, is that the totality of how we can use our text-to-speech module along with our alert beacon to integrate with other technologies. And I will be taking you through some diagrams to give you a better appreciation for how this can work. We do have other technologies like we do have horns and high-powered speaker arrays that can also be deployed. They are really good for outdoor type deployments, perhaps campuses where you need to broadcast audio across a large area. So the Alertus text-to-speech for desktop. This is so easy to use, literally anyone can do it. Once you have access to the Alertus portal and you go into desktop profiles, scrolling all the way down, you'd get to a portion of our screen that looks like this. And you simply click a drop down, you select text-to-speech, and you adjust these parameters. I will take you through that. Here is the service that tells or controls behavior for text-to-speech for our IP text-to-speech devices. I'll also take you through this. This little graphic basically describes, how, some of that logic, pre-wave, post-wave, when your message is played, and it controls repetitions, delays between each repetition, etc. So here is, this screen could be a little bit complex, but it really isn't. So this diagram basically is one example of how we can use our alert beacon with our text-to-speech module, which is this brown box in the middle. And in this example, it integrates with a PA system. So if your organization has a PA system or any other type of notification system that can take audio, we can use our text-to-speech to integrate. And it's really easy. We have line level audio out. So as long as your system accepts line level audio, we simply pass line level audio to it. And in some cases, your systems may require an activation before audio. Think of a PA system or a two-way radio where you have to press a button before you talk. That's what that activation is. It's the equivalent of a button press that tells your system, please expect audio. And once you get that audio, then process it. So really easy, really straightforward. And we can use this in several different scenarios. I actually have a really unique scenario that I'm working on right now, but it is a bit beyond the scope of this presentation. So now let me take you guys to how to get this all set up. So here is my Alertus console. I am already logged in as an administrator. And first, let me take you through setting up the text-to-speech for your desktop profile. So that's straightforward. We go to Configure System, scroll down to Desktop Profiles. And once that page loads, here we have a bunch of desktop profiles that have already been configured. So let's take a look at, let's add a new one. So in this case, I'm going to add a desktop profile. Or we can edit one of those that we have there already, but in this case, I will add one. I'm going to name it, and then I'm going to select full screen, because why not? I could have selected any of these methods, but to get to our point, I am going to scroll down to other settings, and here we have our audio settings. So by default, it's set to no audio. But by clicking this dropdown, here we have audio files. Now, audio file isn't text to speech, because what audio files are, it basically plays an audio file. To get text to speech, we click on our text to speech box. And here is that screen like I showed on my slides. So I can say repeat 3 times. I can say, give me a 6-second delay between each play count. So it plays once, then it pauses for 6 seconds, plays again, pauses for another 6 seconds until my repeat times has expired. And what text-to-speech does is that it reads any text that is in this yellow box. So for those of you that I've either trained before or who would have attended previous training sessions, you would understand that this message typically comes from your preset alerts. So whatever you configure there gets passed into here. It's dynamic, and our text-to-speech technology would read that for you. Another cool thing about our text-to-speech technology for the latest desktop is we have got a volume override. So let's assume that a user might have their system volume turned way down when an activation comes in. Because we're doing a system volume override, we can set this volume to any level that you would like. So by default, it's at 75, but you can go ahead and adjust that. And once we're done, we add our desktop profile. We click this box to create our service, and we continue. So that is how easy it is to use the text-to-speech technology on our desktop profiles. Now let's take a look at our text-to-speech devices. For text-to-speech devices, we go to Alert Services. The alert service would control the behavior of our text-to-speech device. So here I've got a bunch of services already in, but if you look at my type, I don't have any text-to-speech devices. So to do that, I'm going to add a service. And I'm from my dropdown where it says service type, I am going to scroll all the way down to my IP text-to-speech. Did I pass it? There we go, text-to-speech IP. So I'm going to click on it. In this case, I'm going to name it. And here we go. Here's where we've got our behavior. So we've got a pre-wave. So your system goes off. You can choose a number of tones that we've built in, attention-grabbing tones from sirens to beeps to chirps. Let's just grab chime. So this pre-wave is represented by this icon. Next, we have our alert audio, which is text-to-speech. Again, this message comes from your preset alert. So just to give a quick demonstration, let me open my preset alerts into a new tab. And let's grab the intruder alert, just to give a bit of context. So here is some message text. This is a bit dynamic because it's saying an intruder has been detected. User, and whichever user is logged in, has sent an activation, and it's also saying its computer name. So whatever these variables translate to, that is what our text-to-speech will play. That message is also what what gets injected into your Alertus desktop profiles, and that shows on your user screen. Next, we select our play count. So in this case, let me select 3. Play count would be this portion right here. So we get a pre-wave, we get a play count, and a post-wave. So let's just do another chime. Once that's done, we have a delay. In this case, let's also do 3. Here's our delay, 2 seconds, and we have a play count of 3 again. So pre-wave kicks off. We play our alert audio X amount of times. In this case, we're doing 3. We get a post wave, we have a delay, we play again, and then we have an entire play count, which in this case we've set to also 3. So what I usually tell customers is think of your audience, think of your varying scenarios, and adjust these accordingly. And these are well tested before. These should pass user acceptance testing before it goes into a live environment. We can also adjust the rate of speech. So we've got extra slow, slow, fast, extra fast. This is really useful for your type of emergency. And again, it all depends. We have LED behavior that you can turn on or off. And once we've done setting this up, we add our alert service. We've also got, as part of our technology, we've also catered for pronunciation. So there are some words that they just really don't translate well with many text-to-speech technologies. What we've done is in our text-to-speech settings, text-to-speech pronunciations, we can add words. So when our system gets or processes those words, it knows how to pronounce it. We can do English, Spanish, or Canadian French. So in this case, let's select English, and let's use ASAP. So we've got the word ASAP. We'll do whole word, and here we have a pronunciation table. So we have several examples. So for example, the word bomb. This is how we tell our system how to pronounce bomb. So B followed by 2 A's for a soft A sound, followed by the letter M, and so on. And that logic follows through. We've got a list of words that should give you real good coverage for whatever situation you have got. And that's how you would cater for any odd words that that may not be easy to pronounce. That should take care of that. Let me also show you. Let's look at our preset alert and how we will tie all of this together. So let's go back to my intruder alert and let's add text-to-speech to this. Here we've got our intruder alert saying alert all of my desktops, but I'd like to add text-to-speech devices. So the Alertus desktop does have text-to-speech built in, as I've demonstrated before. Let me choose one that does have audio. Intruder. Do I have an intruder profile? Yeah, let me stick to my default. I'll check that in a bit. And let's add our alert beacon. And let's add our IP speaker. So here I've added services that has additional methods of activating audio. Quick point, from my last diagram, this diagram, you can see we have an alert beacon with a TTS device attached to it. So the alert beacon, when it receives an activation, gets that message text, passes it to our TTS module, and our TTS module says, hey, let me make this text into an audio file. Let me convert that and then pass it to whatever devices we need to integrate. So because we have that TTS device attached to our alert beacon, we select our alert beacon that may have, or that does have, a TTS device attached to it. And here is where we simply enable it. So our alert beacon has that hardware attached. We turn it on. That is it. We're done. We select our recipients. We save our preset alert. Then we're done. The only thing left for us to do is to activate our system. So if I were to go to preset activation and I activate, my system will activate and I should have audio. So in this case, my preset alert is asking me to insert a location. A bit beyond text to speech, but really cool for you guys to understand is, let's say you're doing something, you've got an incident. Let's take one of my already filled in options, car park, hit continue. And I get my confirmation page, which basically allows a user who is about to activate your system to confirm what they are about to send, and we hit send. Now I am wearing headphones, so you may not hear my audio. My audio is coming through my headphones, but once activated, audio is playing. So I am actually listening to this text. And that brings me to the end of integrating text to speech. I will now hand it back over to Undral and I'll field your questions.
Great. Thank you, Nathan.
You're welcome.
So just a reminder again, if you have any questions, you can type them in the Q&A or the chat box. So the first question is, I'm curious about the best practices for TTS in multiple languages as part of a single activation. So for example, announcing an alert in both English and Spanish. How would that look like?
So we've got, for desktops, we've got a profile that we can use to cater for two sets of languages. So let me add profile. And in this case, it's a pop-up type notification, and we've got Rosetta. So Rosetta does two different language types. If I were to edit this, here we've got English and text delimit. All right, so here's we got English and French. So we've got, not only is it visually in two different languages that we'll get two different sets of audio waves playing back to back. This is for the Alertus desktop. For other types of devices, what we'll do is we'll configure our system to play. You may only be able to play one language at a time, but then we can configure via custom event triggers. We can configure some advanced functionality to get it set up the way you want it to. So if you want to broadcast in different languages, we can work towards getting that done. It all really depends on what we've got to work with, but totally doable.
Thank you, Nathan. The next question is there a beta site we can use for training our emergency dispatchers so we can train in a non-live environment?
What we typically do is on your system, we can set up some testing scenarios for you. So based on how your grouping is set up, or rather, we will set up groups. So as part of our deployments, we usually set up test groups. You can easily add into this pilot groups. So your pilot/test group could be a mixture of anyone you want. So it could be individuals, it could be functional groups, it could be buildings. And when we set up users, we can restrict those users only to test scenarios. So whenever they activate, it doesn't go organization-wide and cause mass panic. It only goes to the intended recipients who are part of your pilot. That's one way that we train our users during a live or during an implementation. Another thing that we do is we create a silent test. So what a silent test does, it activates your system, but without any visuals or without any audio. So here's my silent test. Actually, so here's my silent test. I do have a message, which for some reason, should a user see this, it says it's only a test. And if you do see it, do reach out to our emergency preparedness team. But for your organization, it could be any team at any number. But yeah, so like I said, what it does is it activates your system without any type of notification at all. And in your device activations, you can pull a report to see, well, basically to get metrics that tells you the success of your activation organization-wide. Really, really useful for testing. Here we've got some metrics. It basically breaks down how long different devices would take to become active. So definitely in this upper area here, we probably won't want devices taking between 121 to 300 seconds or even above 300 seconds to get an activation. In emergencies, we want that to be quick. So that's a really good use case for our silent test and creating test groups that your organization can continue to use for testing.
Awesome, thank you. So we'll take a few questions before we end this webinar. Is there a way to preview the .wav files from the console? Also, can you hear the TTS alert from the client without activating a speaker?
So part one is, can you preview those WAV files? The answer to that is absolutely. So I'm going to use desktop profile as my example. So no, text-to-speech is dynamic. So text-to-speech converts text on the fly. But if you're using a preloaded WAV file, I will show you definitely how we can preview that. So for text-to-speech, we'll probably do testing with a pilot group, just to ensure that whatever message you send out gets converted right. That way you can then go back to your text-to-speech settings and maybe play with pronunciations. But for preloaded WAV files, you can definitely test these. So you can click our drop-down, and this little speaker here, clicking it will play that file for you. Now, if you are wearing headphones, please be careful. Some of these are really loud because they are used for emergency scenarios. But this is an example. You click on this little speaker and you can play this file as many times as you'd like. And you can cycle between files and play them. Hope that answers your question.
Sorry, thanks. Okay, is there a way to test a text-to-speech service if we do not have any alert beacons or other alert devices that is for text, that does text-to-speech?
In that case, you'd be limited to your desktop profile as a way to test your text-to-speech. For other methods, in that case, you'd probably need to have, or you would need to have some sort of text-to-speech device from Alertus to do so. So desktop profiles, most customers are licensed for that, and enabling text-to-speech comes at an additional cost. You could reach out to your account manager and ask for demo hardware or hardware for a proof of concept. That is something that we do. And we'll happily make arrangements to get hardware out to you where you can test your text-to-speech functionality. You'll even get implementation to set that up for you to get it working as you would like it to, and then you can test.
Awesome, thank you. So the last question here is, will the different devices play at the same time?
Absolutely. So let's go back to our preset alerts. For as many devices as you have selected, or rather for as many service types as you have selected, let me clear this. So here we've got a text-to-speech speaker. Here we've got Alertus desktop, and here we've got an alert beacon with a text-to-speech device attached to it. So it really depends on your grouping. So in a word, yes, they will all play simultaneously. But then again, it also depends on what groups you're targeting. So let's say you're targeting multiple buildings. We'd need to ensure that those groups are targeted. So if I wanted to do, in this case, my South Campus and my North Campus, then these devices would play at these two locations. If I remove one, then only my North Campus would get my activation. Or I can simply select all. So selecting all will target every device type throughout your entire organization. So that's how we could select which devices play, or how we can simply target all devices. But in a word, yes, we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nathan.
You're welcome.
That concludes our Q&A session. So I just wanted to say thank you again for joining our program. Please fill out the survey on your way out to help us better serve you. I hope to see all of you in 2 weeks on March 31st, where we will talk about how you can prepare for severe weather threats. This will conclude our Q1 How To series, but we will be restarting the series again in April, so keep an eye out for more things like topics, registration links, and dates. We're also going to be starting a user group for the alerted system. Our first meeting will be at the end of April. If you like these trainings but would like to participate and contribute more, please answer yes first to reach out to you on the survey. This will be a great opportunity for you and us to learn from each other and your peers. If you have additional comments or questions, please feel free to contact support or your respective account managers. And thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to hosting you again.
Thank you all.